The Pacific Northwest is known for its wonderful outdoor activities, but unfortunately for some people, these activities, for actually not just some, so many people, these activities can be so costly. You know what it costs to go skiing? So to bridge the gap, a nonprofit organization, the Service Board, is creating equitable access for youth from historically marginalized communities. And here with me now to talk more about the programs is the Service Board Executive Director, Layla Anani. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here, Amity.
So we're standing here before some from snowboards because this is one of the things that you teach. Tell me about Service Board and why it's important to provide equitable access to things like this.
Yeah, well, the Service Board, or TSB, we've been around for about 28 years, serving Seattle and King County. We work with a group of historically marginalized youth, so Black, Indigenous people of color, LGBTQ folks, low-income folks, providing them with a curriculum around leadership development programming that is culturally relevant.
Yeah.
We go out and do fun things together. We build community and we build resilience and life skills. And, you know, for these populations, equitable access to resources is so important because they're at a really critical development point in their lives, and it will decide whether or not they move on to adulthood successfully.
That is the key right there. I mean, like you just said it. I mean, these are critical times, like moving on to adulthood successfully. I mean, these are the things we're talking about. We got some B-roll or some video I'd like to show you all of the Service Board and kind of teaching these kids and looking at the excitement and how they're learning this. This is one of your why serve youth?
Yeah. So, you know, I thought about this for a while, and there are a lot of reasons, but I think the main reason is that these youth are the most likely to be heavily impacted by systemic oppression, disparities, having access to critical resources, and even just fun, challenging activities like snowboarding. So, you know, we try to make an example of, at TSB, of what a world could be like for youth. We invite them to look deeper into these disparities and, you know, like really think about the roots and how they can undo them.
Because social justice is an important part of the Service Board initiative. Tell me about that social justice piece.
Yeah, so for us, social justice is really about disrupting traditional power dynamics. We want youth to know that they can have a voice, that their input is valued, and that they can influence policy decisions both in our organization and in the real world to make a difference in their communities.
Yeah, and snowboarding is not the only thing you teach. What else are you teaching?
Yeah, so we also get to do a lot of other stuff. You know, we get to go skateboarding. We have some surf clinics, rock climbing, backpacking. You know, we just love to get out there and build community and, you know, like engage in as many different skills as possible. Plus, it's so fun. It's the best job ever.
It really, I mean, that is amazing. It's just having those abilities to, you know, build a tent, to learn how to surf, to do anything of that nature. It's just, it's really incredible to see all these kids and all these smiles, and it's so important. And even coming up to when you first walk up to a snowboard and you look at these boots and you go, all of this seems so intimidating.
Yeah.
And so what are some, we're gonna do a demo right now. Okay, so what are some of the things you teach the kids?
Yeah, so we're in spring right now. One of the things that we're teaching now that youth have progressed past the beginner stage is how to do their first trick. So if you want to step into your board.
All right.
With the fearlessness of a young person going for their first
I've got the
time.
fearlessness of my youth right here in me. It's been a minute since I've strapped into a snowboard.
Yeah. It's just like riding a bike.
Oh, is it now?
It is.
So she said.
A very scary bike.
Got my Rassignals on.
Yeah.
I'm actually more of a skier. I want to put that out there before everyone starts laughing at me right now.
Well, then you know what? I love this. The fact that you are having the courage to strap into this when you're usually a skier, you know, I commend you.
I'm just hoping I don't fall down when I get the other one on.
Yeah.
So when you say you're teaching the beginners tricks, you know, this is not something you think about doing off the mountain. You know, you think about this is something you're going to do on the mountain.
Yeah, but for this particular exercise, you can do this in any flat spot. I would recommend a yoga mat or some other sort of cushion underneath your snowboard to make sure you don't damage it. But we're going to do the simplest form of the trick. Obviously, would be different on the mountain, but this will be really fun, I promise.
All right, I'm ready.
So we're gonna,
that was, hold on a minute. Even getting my snowboard on is exhausting for me.
Just imagine it with 10 pounds of equipment too. Okay, so what we're going to do is find our center here in our athletic stance.
Okay.
Shift the weight slightly over to our front foot. and then rock back onto that back foot, and then hop. You just did your first ollie. How'd that feel?
It feels amazing. I'm shredding. That is cool. I mean, but just getting someone to know how the board feels. It does. I've snowboarded a few times in my life. I snowboarded, is that correct? I've been snowboarding a few times in my life, and it is an awkward, weird thing. So the off the thing, getting someone to feel that, like, know how the board moves is so important.
Yeah.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so
I
much, Amity.
appreciate you. This
Be
has
sure to
been
check
so
out our
fun.
website for upcoming events, too.
Yes, and as she mentioned, the service board has many fun activities for youth and their families. You can visit their website to see what programs they're offering this season. All right, when we